Good morning or good evening, everyone. It's hard to keep track of which time zone we're in. I'm calling you guys sharing with you guys today from Canada, and I know a lot of my viewers are in India. So good evening to everyone. My name is Lavleen Riar. I'll be sharing just a little bit today about lifestyle, why lifestyle is more important than medicine in our life, and why we can avoid most medicines, unless it's an emergency in our lives, by living a lifestyle that is conducive to health. So that's what we'll be sharing today. I'm just going to let people get logged in. And as that happens, then I'll start sharing. Okay. We will make this an interactive session at some point as well, just so you are able to ask questions, just like we did last time. For people who attended my session last time, thank you. And for people who are attending today, that's wonderful. So basically, I am a naturopathic doctor. That's my profession. Along with that, I'm also an entrepreneur. And in this, sorry guys, just was checking for comments as we go along, so I know that they're there. So as a naturopathic doctor, I've learned a lot of things in my life about nutrition, about health. So I'm just going to share a little bit of that with you today. I'm still a work in progress, learning myself, implementing a lot of them myself. Pretty much today, what I'm going to talk to you about is things that I've done myself, most of it, and then research that I've had from fellow doctors and other researchers in our field that are really they're very knowledgeable. They have done a lot of work. They've helped a lot of people to gain health. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Okay. So to begin, I just want to give a disclaimer that I don't tell myself as the expert, but I definitely have a lot of experience in helping others and helping myself and my family members towards health. Okay, so that's the most important. When you have a practical experience and you can share that with others, that's what I'm here to do. Before I begin, I just hope everyone is staying safe and following the guidelines that we need to. Yes, we need social interaction, but it's very important to stay safe in these times. And along with that safety, we can increase our immune system as well. So today we won't talk about that. We'll just talk about general lifestyle, which actually will help you improve your immune system also. So I'm just gonna share my presentation with you guys today. Just bear a moment with me. All right, I think we're on. Let me just see if everyone can see it. Akshay, can you just give me a thumbs up if it's visible? Okay, so today, what's the topic? Lifestyle, not medicine. That's the main thing, okay? There are so many things, first of all, my experience as a naturopath, when a lot of times people come with me for different diseases, for getting better, some people because they actually have an ailment, and other people just because they want help, more help with their lifestyle so they can live energized lives. A lot of times I realize that when people come, they don't have that basic knowledge to just stay healthy. They've been eating a certain way, they've been living a certain way, and they're not sure what it is that should be done in order to have optimal health. So I'll just share a little bit about that today. Okay? All right, wonderful. Okay, so Hippocrates is considered the father of medicine. He's been called that. He is from the year 460 BC, so long time ago. And a lot of things that he said actually true today as well. So I'm just sharing some quotes from Hippocrates. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That's one of the things. So, and then natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. Everything in excess is opposed to nature. Walking is man's best medicine. Who would have thought that in those times when people are mostly walking? But still, all disease begins in the gut. So we will talk a little bit about that as well, right? How your digestive system impacts a lot of your health. Wonderful. I do want to have this disclaimer out there for everyone. If you are currently on any medications, please do not discontinue or change without consulting with your healthcare provider. If you are one of those people who didn't know about healthy living, on how diet can change your medications, go research for yourself, find healthcare providers who do, and only then, and with the help of the person who's prescribed those medicines, only then change it. This is very, very important, because sometimes you could have been taking a medicine for such a long time, and then what happens is you can't just stop it all of a sudden. You have to consult your doctor for that. All right. Wonderful. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Health. Health. See, mind and body connection is very important. It's not just your body, it's not just your mind, it's everything. That's what's really, really important. So we are talking about nutrition, about exercise, about sleep and relaxation and emotions. These are the four aspects I've picked up today, which will kind of tell us how we can stay healthy. All right, wonderful, great. Okay, all right, so number one is nutrition. Okay, how does nutrition affect our health? I think we all know nutrition is probably the key in our health. I have discovered that for myself, that when I change my nutrition for the better, then my whole life, my whole mood, my body, my mental status, everything changes. So nutrition is key. It definitely is. Now, I've written something here called blue zones. Blue zones are area around the world where people live to long, long lives and without medication, and they live healthy lives. There are a lot of centenarians, so people who are living over 100 years and well into their 90s, definitely. So what are these? Well, I'm not going to cover what these blue zones are. You guys can discover them for yourself. However, what are the common things that were found in these blue zones? So people here have a strong sense of family, and they're very socially engaged, meaning they're not isolated, in their little, the four family of four or just a single person. They're not isolated, they're socially engaged. Then they all have moderate physical exercises. So we're talking about all the zones. They don't smoke. Then they consume plant-based diets. Okay. And a lot of them consume legumes like lentils, beans, um, also even soy, but we're not going to go into soy. That's another vast um, topic in itself, but just be assured that these were the qualities that were found in families in I should say regions that live really, really healthy lives, and without the help of too many medications, or I should say no medication. So I hear somebody saying, Krishna Bhavan is saying, I never heard of them. Well, this is something you can explore, the blue zones. All right. So what is it that we want in nutrition? I'm just giving like a basic overview. So it kind of gets you thinking on those terms and gets you started on that if you were not already aware of this, okay? So making a whole plant-based diet the foundation of your diet. See, food is just much more than fuel. It is the building blocks of which our brain and every single cell of our body is made of. So food is that one key thing that affects a lot of what we do, our mental and our physical health. Next, I've talked about Dr. Furman. He talks about this nutrient-dense diet, which is a plant-rich diet. And here, today I myself am a vegetarian and 99% vegan. But I'm not condoning be this or be that. You guys have to discover for yourself. I grew up mostly a vegetarian, but then did eat animal products on occasion, which would be like once a week or not even. But everyone has to discover for themselves what it is to be a vegetarian versus a non-vegetarian versus a vegan. But I'm going to touch upon it a little bit today. All right. Share the name on chat. Okay, we will do that. I'll definitely put everything on chat that I'm discussing today, the names. definitely will do that. Okay. All right. So nutrient dense diet. I'm just going to give an overview of what the nutrient dense diet is. Okay. It's largely a plain plant-based diet, which is low in salt and low in fat. Okay. And if we look at it overall, what it encompasses, it's vegetables. Vegetables are the main thing, 30 to 60% of your diet. I would go on the 60% should be vegetables, and it's unlimited. There's no like you need to control your portions on vegetables. Now we're talking about vegetables alone. We're not talking about laden with butter or, with lots of other fats or processed foods. Should be 10 to 40%, and we're talking 3 to 5 servings. Then we've got beans and legumes, and that can be about half cup to 1 cup of diet every day. Nuts, 2 ounces every day. So an avocado a day or a few. Then we've got whole grains and potatoes. This should be 20% or less of your diet. So which approximately is 1 cup cooked. So if you really want to live, a healthy diet where your gut is healthy, you want to minimize your starches. But starches are great. They're not bad at all. Potatoes are wonderful. Sweet potatoes are great. So don't totally avoid them, but just you want to limit them. Then we have the non-factory farmed. I'm talking about people who are eating animal products. If you are eating animal products, it should be less than 10% of your diet. And that amounts to just 8 ounces a week of meat, dairy, eggs, or seafood, okay? For people who are not willing to give up their non-vegetarian yet. But please do look on the merits of a completely vegetarian diet. Then we need minimally processed foods, okay? So these are foods that are a little bit processed, like tofu, ground whole grain breads and cereals. This should be, again, less than 10%. So we're talking about grains, okay? Less than 10% of your diet, especially if for people who want to lose weight, then you want to keep that as just one portion of your diet in one meal, not all 3 meals in your daily life. Then we have sweets and processed foods. This should actually have no part in your diet. I'm telling you, I eat sweets as well. However, it should be minimum or none at all. So maybe if you really need to eat something like that, you can keep it at once a week. Also, this diet discourages snacking. All right. Add flavor, but not salt. So less salt. So instead of like, flavoring our food with lots of salt, you can flavor herbs that have good quality. And they have really great health benefits. Okay, so this is just a nutrient dense diet. You guys can take a look at it. Now, fiber is a big part of this diet. And when you're eating lots of vegetables and lots of unprocessed foods, fiber is part of it. And just remember, for the people who are non-vegetarians, meat, animal products have no fiber in them. The fiber comes from the plants, and fiber is most important for our gut to have good bacteria that enhance our immune system. Now, the gut itself and the microbiome is another huge topic, which, one day I will discuss. So healthy fats we talked about. Apart from that, we have some micronutrients, B12, iron. So there's some minerals and vitamin D. These are some things sometimes we are not able to get from our diet, and then you can supplement them. For people who are vegan, there are a lot of vegan options as well. And all these things are enhancing our gut microflora. All right, let me just share the name on chat. Okay, wonderful. So nothing else. So nuts and seeds, I see Asha writing nuts and seeds. So nuts and seeds, the good seed, I would say seeds are the first option. Seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Then we have in India, we have the muggas, the melon seeds. So seeds are more important first. We're talking about those kind of seeds, the ones that are edible, not like, fruit seeds. And then nuts. So seeds are first choice, and then nuts. And nuts like walnuts and pecans are probably the best choice. And then come the other nuts. Almonds are great. They're great for calcium. The other nuts could be highly processed. Cashews, it really depends. They could be very highly processed, but it's also a good thing as a vegan. It's a great choice to have milk substitute. Okay. All right. After nutrition, we come to exercise. Actually, before I go there, I do want to, just looking at my notes, I covered fiber, but what's important is a lot of times what people do is they just, put extra bran on everything they eat. But bran itself is not the only fiber, because bran is an insoluble fiber. We want lots of different fibers in our diet. So a variety of fiber comes only when you include lots of vegetables and fruits in your diet. And remember, a lot of times people say, oh, if I don't eat animal product, or if I don't eat dairy, where will I get my protein from? Just remember, animals do not make protein. The essential amino acids are made by plants. All right. So whenever you're eating plants, you're getting in all the amino acids. And when you have a variety of plants in your diet, you get all the essential amino acids, and the rest your body will make. So don't be worried about getting your protein. Even when you're eating an animal product, which we considered a whole protein, your body doesn't absorb protein from your gut just like that. It has to break it down into amino acids and then absorb it from your gut to your bloodstream. So it's very important to understand that you will get enough protein even with plant food. If you guys can search on, vegan athletes, vegetarian athletes, they get more than enough protein. It's the muscle building that makes your muscles, not just eating the protein. You can eat all the protein in the world, but if you're static, you're not going to build muscle. All right. So that's something I wanted to just cover. Okay. All right. So basically, I'll summarize the nutrition before I go on to exercise. Making whole plant foods your primary source. Okay. Then concentrated fats and oils should be used very, very little. If you can avoid oil completely in your diet, that's awesome. You get your fat from nuts, from seeds, from avocado. Then the good fats that we're missing in our diet can come from vegetarian sources like ground flax, chia, hemp seeds, walnuts. Okay, I already talked about that. Then some of the minerals, because I talked about micronutrients, right? The B12, iron, zinc. So zinc you can get from seeds and nuts. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with iron and zinc. It's a good idea to soak your seeds and nuts because that releases some of the nutrients and then have them. Lentils are rich in iron. Calcium, lots of calcium in tofu, in almonds, in dark greens, the leafy greens. And I just want to mention one person that I got my inspiration from is Brenda Davis. She's a nutritionist in Canada, and she got her bone density test done, and it was 2.5 deviations above normal. It couldn't even be charted, and she's been a vegan for 25 years. And this is coming from a person whose mom had osteoporosis. So, a lot of people say, in my genetics, I have this, I have osteoporosis in my genes, my parents had it, so I'm going to get it. No, that's not true at all. Our nutrition can change everything. So this person who's been a vegan for 25 years is getting her calcium from her plants. And to have strong bones, it's not just what you're taking in, but it's your exercise, it's weight bearing exercises that help with that. Okay. Again, I talked about the gut flora, right? We talked about how, now I'm going to tell you how you can enhance gut flora. Everything I've talked about, the whole plant-based diet, nutrient dense diet, all of this increases your healthy gut bacteria. And what you want to do is you want to avoid alcohol and processed foods. And if you're eating this way, you will get enough plant-based fiber. Also, you can include some fermented vegetables. Here we have in Canada, there's sauerkraut, there's what else is there? There's kombucha, which we have in India too. But in India, if you go back to your roots, we make things like kanji. That's like a probiotic drink. So there's so many things that are available in our own culture that we can implement, okay, in our diet and include in our diet. Okay. So next we will talk about, I'm just going to look at introduce microgreens. Yeah, yes, microgreens are really, really good. So for example, thank you, Asha. That's a really good one. Lately there's been a lot of research on brassica greens, which is like your mustards, your broccoli. So you can actually get organic seeds of these and sprout them yourself. And they are amazing. You can throw them on a salad. You can just, you can just eat it like that. So I end up sprouting them a lot, and then they're just sitting around, and it's like, come on, grab a bunch and just have it. Microgreens are really, really good. All right. Somebody loves kombucha. Yes, kombucha is great. And guess what? You can make your own kombucha. It's very, very easy. You don't have to spend lots of money. You can get the kombucha once and then you can make your own. There's so many recipes. I've tried it myself and it's amazing. Okay, now exercise. So we all know that exercise is important, but a lot of us don't get motivated enough to do it. Exercise is a big part of self-care, whether you're overweight, underweight, whichever it is. Exercise is mainly important. A lot of times I see people who are, who have they are in their BMI range. They don't think exercise is important, but exercise is a must, because exercise is not only for losing weight, but exercise improves energy. It improves your mood. It also improves immune and neurological function. Okay, so exercise is not only to lose weight, you need exercise. And as the father of medicine, Hippocrates, says, walking is the best exercise. So again, there's many different types of exercises. Walking is not the only one. What I feel is we need to pick something that we enjoy. Because if I pick an exercise today which I don't enjoy, I'm not going to be motivated to do it. I have so many times got a gym membership just because my husband loves to get a gym membership, and he would go also. I'd go for a month and then I'd stop, because that's not how I enjoy my exercise. I enjoy my exercise in the nature. I'll go for nature walks, or I'll do qigong or tai chi, which I'll mention later. And these days everything is on the internet. Just put on a YouTube video and do it. One a channel that I really love for strengthening exercises, because a lot of people say, I need weights, I need this, I need, equipment. You don't need any equipment to exercise. One, like I told you, Fitness Blender is a channel that I really like. But again, you can go with anything that you like. These are exercises that you do without any equipment, but with your own body weight. So there's different exercises for people who say, I don't have any time at all. Fitness Blender has a scientific 7-minute workout. 7 minutes. Okay, I lied. It says 7 minutes, but it actually takes 9 minutes. And then you can add a little warm up and cool down. So 15 minutes. I think we can all take out 15 minutes from our life. And if we can't even take out 15 minutes of our life from self care, then for sure your health will not go in the direction you want it to. We want good health. I'm just going to look at really. Okay. Ah, I love dancing. Yes, Nawazma, of course. Dancing is amazing. So I don't do freestyle. What I do is I'll put like these Bhangra videos on, and they're amazing, or salsa, or anything that you enjoy. Involve your partner in it. Do something, just move. And if, let's say, you have a job that involves you sitting a lot on a desk, make sure you have some kind of a mindfulness reminder, exercise reminder, getting up reminder. It could be every half an hour, every hour. Get up and move. Because if you're sitting for long amounts of time, your blood goes static. You need to move. Your lymph doesn't move. So even if, let's say, you're exercising once a day, or a few times a week, but if you have a job that requires sitting for long periods, make sure you get up every hour. Just stretch, do a little bit of you can do tapping of your body, just a little bit jogging in space at the same spot, and then you can go on from there. All right. So what are the different kinds of exercises we can do? I researched a little bit online, and what's the top 5 which everyone agrees on? Walking, interval training. Interval training just means like you get your heart rate up and then you slow down, up and slow down. It could be a matter of jogging for a little bit and then walking, jogging, or it can be right in where you're standing. You can just jog and then just walk right on. And squats. Squats are for strengthening, and that's for muscle fitness and strong bones. Muscles. Push-ups. So push-ups are your upper body and core. Squats and lunges, your lower body. So you kind of can cover your entire body with that. Now, exercise is important, not just like I mentioned for weight loss, but for fighting disease, for protecting bones, and also easing back pain. This is my own personal experience with back pain. probably around 15 years ago, or even longer. It was before my son was born. So yeah, 20 years ago, sometimes you experience all of a sudden, like it could be because of disc, the nerve is being impinged, and you get acute back pain. A lot of people get that, but then they get over it over time. So I had that one time. It was about 20 years ago. And then what happened is, ever since that time, even if I would do any, lifting without taking care, that would happen. And then I'd be out for 3 days. But since I did yoga and I did qigong exercises specifically for the back, and now it doesn't happen. So imagine, 20 years, I'm 20 years older, but my back is healthier than it was 20 years ago. So we can improve everything. All right. Time. Okay. All right. So from exercise, we move on to rest and sleep. So we all need some rest, right? We all need some sleep. So what is it good for? For repairing, it works as an anti-inflammatory because our body does a lot of repair in its sleep. So it's also very important not to eat and sleep, because what happens with that is your body is just working on digestion. So it's important to have at least 3 hours. Your last meal should be 3 hours before you actually sleep. Then it improves concentration and productivity. If you're not getting enough rest and sleep, you are not going to function properly. Poor sleep also affects hormones that regulate appetite. So if you're not sleeping properly, if you don't have basically a good routine of sleeping, it's going to affect your appetite. And trust me, this is my personal experience. When my sleep pattern gets disrupted, I go for more junk foods, okay? And sleep improves immune function. So all these things are important because our body, it repairs itself during sleep. It refreshes itself during sleep. So the best thing is to have your sleep at the proper sleep time. I know some people have jobs that don't allow that, but it would be very important if you can. In my household, I know my own son, he sleeps so late, or I should say early in the morning, but he's going to have to discover for himself, right, what's important. So it's very important because even our sleep hormone is melatonin. It's formed at night in the dark. So another thing is important: don't sleep with the light on. It should be dark. So in the hours from 12 to 2, that's about the range where the melatonin has its peak. So even some people take the melatonin supplement, but that isn't gonna have that good an effect which your regular sleep pattern will. Why? Because our normal hormone pattern has peaks and low times and then peaks, and that's very important. I would say go to bed by 11 and then wake up when rested. If you are healthy, you're eating well, you will wake up before your alarm. Always you will. So that's really important. Everything regulates. So we've got nutrition, we've got our exercise, and then sleep. And exercise also helps sleep. Okay, so if you're exercising during the day, you'll get better sleep as well. All right. Which all are used to be doing? Okay, I didn't get the last question about which all are used to be doing, or maybe you're just commenting, Asha. Okay, so before I go into emotions, I want to mention this platform that I'm talking to you from, the Practical Spirituality Group, is the working of Krishna Bhavin. And he runs this organization called Whole Life Training, which is an online training program. And they have seminars. They have seminars of non-doing in areas of health, wealth, relationship, and spiritual growth. First Saturday of every month, led by Krishna Bhavin, okay? And that's 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And in order for you to contact and know more, Akshay will post the phone numbers. And if you want to become a master in all the areas of your life, one at a time, then it's just search for wlt.teachable.com. Again, Akshay, please post it in the comments. And if you want to receive a daily inspiration message over WhatsApp, you can also do that. And Akshay will post that also in the comment section. So we will make sure to do that. Now, the next thing I want to cover is your emotions and thoughts. Emotions and thoughts, where do they come from? Okay, So, see, a lot of times we take one area of life and we work that area, but we don't bring a balance. So, balance is most important. Our thoughts affect our feelings, which are our emotions, right? So, we are a product of our thoughts and beliefs. And this is not just somebody saying it, they have done a lot of research that we cannot separate our health from our emotions. And that's why it's very important to recognize the effect the emotions have on our bodies, okay? So a lot of times we have a certain way of thinking, which affects our feelings, and that inevitably will affect our health. So it's very important to have some kind of support if you feel that you have a lot of negative attitudes, feeling of helplessness, hopelessness. These all create chronic stress, and then chronic stress affects your physical and emotional health. What does chronic stress do? And what is negative attitude is basically all the time feeling helpless or hopeless, and it upsets body's hormone balance. It also depletes brain's chemicals that are required for happiness, and it damages the immune system. And you may have noticed when we're going through some, like even a acute stress in our life, our immune system gets compromised. So imagine if you're chronically stressed, what an effect that will have. Your autoimmune diseases get worse for people who have an autoimmune disease. If they're constantly thinking negative or getting stressed, then their disease also exacerbates. So it's very important to understand your thoughts and emotions. Another research that has been done where they check the DNA. So end caps of DNA are telomeres. Stress shortens telomeres. Okay, so important. And what that does is it causes us to age quickly. So very important. If you don't want to age quickly, please take care of your stress. Okay, and the WLT program that I told you about will definitely help with that. Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about negativity bias. Somehow, some way, it's also in actually, I guess, our evolution, because survival mechanism depends on having a negativity bias, meaning where you're aware of danger. You have to be hyper vigilant in a dangerous environment, but we don't live in an environment like that anymore. So we have to consciously become aware of this negativity bias. So for example, spending too much time over minor frustrations, over disagreements, that's a negativity bias. You're driving along and somebody cuts your way, and just not forgetting it, oh my gosh, this stupid person, whatever, and then just getting worked up about it, then sharing that negative with everyone, and always having a negative reaction. You may have a negative reaction, but just that's it. Have a negative reaction, get it over with. Don't keep playing it in your head, this person did this to me or did that to me. So, and ignore many chances. When we have a negativity bias, we ignore a lot in our life which shows gratitude, which we can wonder and say, oh wow, look at that beautiful. When, if let's say you're doing this, you're driving along, you will miss so much beauty around you because of this negativity bias. So what do we want to practice? We want to practice forgiveness and gratitude. I find those are the two main qualities that we can imbibe to get rid of this negativity bias. That's gratitude and forgiveness. Okay, so what other things can we help to bring up our positive thoughts and emotions? Meditation is number one. For myself, I've been involved doing meditation for over 20 years, and even as a child I grew up with it. But I know that when I pay attention and I have a daily routine of some meditation, of sitting silent, of having that calmness in my life, it affects my entire day, and then my relationships as well. Yoga is another great way of bringing that calmness and having more balance in your emotions. Pranayam, which is our breathing. For me, I have really found Tai Chi. Qigong is a form of Tai Chi, which is really amazing for me. I practice that, at least like 75% of my days. And then going out in nature, gardening. I know if I get into gardening, my body can be dead tired, but it's just amazing the feeling I get. So being in nature, please do get out every day, even if it's let's say in lockdown you can, but you can have plants. You can have plants in your balcony if you live in an apartment complex. You can have a garden in your backyard. So many things that we can do to bring nature to us, even if when we can go out to nature. Okay. So I really want to cover that as well. All right. So in the end, we've talked about nutrition, I've talked about exercise, I talked about the emotional health. Now, what is it that we need to be or do in order to do all this? We need to have a willingness to change. And I found that in myself, until and unless I wasn't willing to change, I wasn't able to really deep dive into it, I couldn't make those changes. Okay. And again, a disclaimer, I'm definitely still a work in progress, but my health is amazing. The way I've been able to improve my health over time, there was a time when I was in college, I weighed almost close to 200 pounds. And I don't know how that happened. I lived alone as a student. My parents were away in another country. I came to Canada. Nobody to guide me. I got to eating lots of junk food, McDonald's and burgers, and whether vegetarian or non-vegetarian. And slowly I gained weight. Yes, it could have been in my genetics. We end up blaming genetics a lot, but I have to be willing to change it. I had to be willing to first be aware of my habits that are not conducive to my health. Then I have to take responsibility. I have to take, the doctors are not going to take responsibility for your health. They're not meant to take responsibility for your health. You yourself have to take that responsibility. Then I had to be self motivated to make those changes. And not just self motivation, because self motivation can die easily. And that's when you need a support system. So everyone should have a support system that they can count on. There are going to be times where you're going to fall. Let's say you don't have good, healthy habits right now. It takes time to change, to develop those habits. But if you continuously do something, it will eventually change and you will live a better and more fulfilled life. I'm an example right here in front of you. So you can do that. All right, let me make sure I've covered everything. Okay, so before I end, I want to give some, where I've got my inspiration from. Okay, my father and my mom as well. The reason I mentioned my father is because I learned from my dad early on. Both my parents are doctors and they practiced, they had a hospital, but you know what? They didn't quickly go towards medication ever. I have not seen my dad take allopathic medicine unless and until he absolutely had to, or he couldn't get better, without natural means. He could have a fever of 103, 104. What does he do? He rests, takes lots of fluids, and maybe certain types of teas and stuff to help him. And that's somehow, I think that's where I picked up this thing about not taking any medication. So I want to just point out my own personal experience with healing myself from different things, without medication. So a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, I developed some fibroids. I'm at that perimenopausal age, which is very common in women to develop fibroids. So I was in pain. Before that, I knew I may have had a fibroid, but when I was in pain, then I got it checked again, and this fibroid was 6 centimeters. I could have easily gone and tried, hormone stuff, this thing, that thing, or surgery, but no, I know that my body has its healing capacity. So everything that I told you about diet and nutrition today, I completely did that. I totally stopped not even a grain of sugar in my diet, complete only whole plant foods, and that's it. Within like 6 months, I got by the way, the pain was gone in a couple of days. After that, then I got myself tested again, the ultrasound done in 6 months to a year. And then it had come in less than a year, it had come from 6 centimeters to about 4 centimeters. And that's big. Then the year later, there were just small fragments left. And guess what? Nothing since then. Everything is fine. So these are little things. If I have a headache, I'm not going to go towards medication because my body is telling me that, hey, there's a headache. Pay attention to what's happening. So when you pay attention, maybe it's something I ate. Maybe I had coffee for 2, 3 days and now I didn't, and that caused a headache. So, giving myself a Tylenol or a paracetamol on top of that is not going to help. I'm adding more chemicals in my body. And then there's some, I can put these names also in the chat afterwards, so you guys can check the comments afterwards. Dr. Hans Deal, he is known for his chip program. Again, these are all people who've inspired me. I have researched their information to help me and help my patients to better health. Dr. Esselstyn, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Dr. Nandita Shah, she has the Sharon India organization. Brenda Davis, I already mentioned. Nandini Gulati, my really dear friend, her and I got on a health journey together. And she just look up healthy habits now in Nandini Gulati. Dr. Neil Barnard, they are an organization in US, which is Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Dr. McDougall, again, all these people who have inspired me, for health. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. That was my slideshow. I do have 5 minutes left. Let me just look at, oh, Nandini's watching. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So I don't see any questions. If I do see any at the end, I will answer them afterwards. Okay. I just want to add a few things. We all have heard of the Genome Project. Genome Project is the project that was undertaken in the early 2000s to accurately sequence the 3 billion DNA bases that we have in human body. Now, it was a great success in the sense that, they could sequence them. However, what also came about it is that we have this human microbiome. It's the ecological community, okay? That's the bacteria, the symbiotic, commensal, and pathogenic microorganisms that live in us. And they share our body space. 90% of our cells associated, they constituted 90% of our cells, okay? So only 10% is actually our human DNA. So it's very, very important to take care of that. How do we take care of that? Again, with nutrition, with exercise, with good thoughts. This will help and most of this microbiome is in our gut, and this will help you improve your health. So we need to pay attention to those little microbiomes, which comprise 90% of our cells. If we don't pay attention to them, we cannot be healthy. So we need to feed them. And everything I talked about the diet earlier will feed your good bacteria and automatically decrease the microbiomes that are not good for us. So another thing is gene expression. I have patients come to me, oh, diabetes is in my genetics, heart disease in my genetics, so I can't do anything. I have to go on medication. No, that's not true. All the names of the people that I took, that were my inspiration. These people have worked with people reversing diabetes, reversing heart disease. My own father, at a point he got a stent, but then he totally changed his lifestyle. He's fit and healthy at 75 years of age. He's not taking a single medication, all because of lifestyle. Another thing is, at one point, I don't know why, but both my parents got some eczema, seborrheic dermatitis type of thing around maybe 7-8 years ago. That's when their health journey into a, complete healthy diet started. And they travel a lot. Every month they'll be in different places, but they eat mainly home cooked food unless they have no choice, and then they'll eat the simplest vegetarian food. So what they did at that time, for 1 month, both of them went on a complete raw diet. It was just fruits and salads and not even any nuts at that time. For 1 month they did that. Within 3 days, my dad, where his dermatitis was open, there were wounds on his body, even to the extent that he couldn't even tie his hair him. Within 3 days, it started reversing, and after a month there was nothing left, and he's never had that again. So it's really amazing how we can improve ourselves. Something that I said today made sense to you, and you will, be your own person taking care of your health and not leaving your health in other people's hand. That's responsibility, okay? I take responsibility for my health, and I hope all of you can also make that commitment. Thank you so much. That's it for me today. Take care, everyone.